Dinner in Hell Band!
Oh!
Gentlemen.
Baby! It's electrified.
Incredible. Best band in the podcast house band business, bar none.
Best freaking podcast studio audience, BT.
Oh, incredible. Just beautiful. They look super intelligent. Welcome back for another exciting edition of the Dinner in Hell podcast, the show where two amateur historians talk about the atrocious underbelly of history. I am one of your co-hosts, Brad the Impaler, and with me, as always, a real romantic, Ron Maiden.
Oh, everyone knows Valentine's is my favorite holiday of the year, and it's coming up. This is our Valentine's episode.
I have to assume you've been planning for months already.
You know it. Freaking, they got the hot tub suites in Ann Arbor with no roof under the stars.
Mm-hmm.
That's not gross. I'm gonna go in a public shared hot tub with my partner. Today.
Make a little rare human soup.
Oh, Jesus.
Toss a couple carrots in there.
Like Bugs Bunny. I'm like, wait a second. He wakes up in a pot and there's a fire under it. Yeah. Hey, Jack. Freaking lion. Hey. You know the talking with the lion?
I don't remember the lion.
He's like skinny, goofy.
It's ringing a bell deep in the dark recesses of my memory, but I can't quite put my hands on it.
It was like old Looney Tune, like Warner Brothers. It wasn't like anything. Anyways, today, oh my God, you're probably thinking, what the hell is the Dinner in Hell going to do for us? This is Valentine's. This is the season.
Do you think we were just going to let it pass by unaddressed? Because we did until last week.
Think we're just going to talk about Bugs Bunny? No. If you came here for Bugs Bunny, you came to the wrong place.
I don't know how this happened, but you need to rethink your choices.
We're not going to say one more thing about Bugs Bunny the rest of this episode. It's not happening.
Definitely not.
I won't let BT do it.
No, he'll strangle me if I try. Pretty sure. He's within grabbing distance.
You came here for the history's atrocious underbelly, not Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We're not going to talk about Bugs Bunny anymore, so we're going to drop it.
Now, guess what? Because it's got a long history, just like everything, there is a whole underbelly to Valentine's Day.
Oh my God, today's episode, we're going to cover everything from the beheading of a saint to running from the law in the winter, wearing socks.
Oh yeah, there's a long and gross history to this holiday that you're gonna hear all about.
How are we gonna do this? Are we gonna do half show about Claudius and Valentine's, and then are we gonna follow it like with half show with these other stories? How you want to do it?
Well, as you know, we are not only an entertainment podcast, we are also an educational podcast. That's why we always use the hashtag edutainment.
All right, we invented that word.
Yeah, so I think the bulk of the program today will be on the origins of the holiday, along with the emperor responsible for it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then we have a few other juicy little tidbits at the end that are worth sticking around for sure.
Our listeners that came here for blood, you're going to get blood.
Oh, yeah. Plenty.
There's going to be beheadings.
Dismemberment.
There's going to be whippings. There's going to be...
You name it.
Oh, so much pain. There's going to be Tommy guns. Oh, lest we forget Tommy guns on Valentine's history. Oh, we're going to drop a bombshell on everyone, too. Was it an Irish tale?
Yeah, it's haunting.
We have got
haunting.
Just a bushel of topics for you for this Valentine's special.
What say you we get into this?
Yes.
So first, let's talk about the emperor involved in all of this. His name, Claudius II, also known as Claudius Gothicus, was a Roman emperor in the 3rd century. he was of wide renown to be physically strong and also exceptionally cruel.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, really.
A Roman emperor?
A cruel Roman emperor. I know it's such a novel idea. Like, it seems almost impossible that a Roman emperor could possibly be cruel, but here we are.
We gotta do a movie about the kind emperor. It's like the gentle emperor. It's like Tobey Maguire is the gentle emperor.
Yeah, it's 4 minutes long and he immediately gets assassinated.
It shows him like a butterfly lands on the tip of his finger. Like it's like a summer breeze. Like the gentle emperor. He's like bottle feeding a piglet.
There's like birds landed on his shoulders and shit.
Hey, if Tobey Maguire, if he's ever allegedly accused of anything, we just want to know. I just randomly chose him.
Yeah.
Okay? This is called improv, and we're the kings of it.
You know it.
Graduated all the classes, took all the hours.
Mm-hmm.
We're ready to show our stuff.
Yeah, like you said, we have done the proper preparation. We have we're the heirs first, and now we're the kings.
This isn't our first emperor discussion. We've also covered Nero and Caligula, lest we forget. So some of our OG listeners are like, all right, how many emperors you guys gonna do? Hopefully all of them if they did something atrocious.
I mean, by the time we get to the end of our planned 400 episodes and we have to come up with some new ideas, it's fair few.
Yeah, we'll do like nice emperors if they existed.
They didn't. Spoiler. History spoiler. Well, the reason that Claudius is going to eat up a good chunk of this program today is because he was the emperor who presided over the execution and martyrdom of Saint Valentine. This, combined with a Roman festival called Lupercalia that was pretty bonkers and awesome. We're going to get into that. And the fusion of those two festivals sort of gives us a lot of our modern Valentine's Day tropes. Or the theme, generally, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Claudius was of Illyrian descent, and he was born on May 10th, the year 210, in Sirmium, or an area comprising the bulk of modern-day Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia, and Herzegovina, the Balkans. He's from the Balkans.
Right.
He does not have an aristocratic birth. He grows up a little rough, and he is not a Roman citizen. He has a barbarian birth. Now,
as we all know, barbarian basically meant anyone who isn't a Lannister.
Yeah, you can think of it like that just as well.
A Lannister.
Yeah, pretty much. That's barbarian was any non-Roman. So I mean, this guy was not necessarily like Conan.
He didn't have a fur like loincloth covering his.
Oh, they are born with fur loincloths and like leather harnesses on. They are born like that.
Carries a sword over his shoulder like He-Man would, like down his strap, like angle wise.
Yeah.
Not
like a 7-foot one too.
Yeah, not like Wonder Woman down the middle of her dress. We know little of his childhood, but we know he had one.
Yeah, it's pretty. You know what's one really interesting thing about Roman emperors in general? They all at one point were children.
That's been proven.
Yeah, it's a proven fact. Every
100% of
Roman emperor at one point was a child.
They've ended up like doing DNA tests on remains, and they've found that every single one. Like you're saying.
Yeah, they found the same growth markers like in the bones and everything. Yeah,
from childhood to adult.
Every single one.
And all of them had fathers.
Yes. Yep.
100.
There are a lot of coincidence. I don't think so.
Like actually with the weird thing, if welcome our conspiracy people, but all great leaders in the world all at one point had childhoods and fathers. So it all links together with these Roman leaders.
We're just asking questions here.
All right, let's cut the shit. These people came for serious shit.
Yeah, so we don't know shit about him as a kid other than it did happen. What we do know about Claudius is that his entire adult life was basically spent in a military context. Started at the bottom, working his way up.
Boy Scouts.
Yeah, earning some reputation, getting those killing barbarian merit badges.
Weeblos, scalping people probably.
Yeah.
Raiding villages.
Oh, yeah. All that shit. But he's clawing his way up the ranks of the military. And he's getting a bigger and wider reputation every time because he fights well. He wins, and he's cruel, and he's big.
He was described as brilliant warrior.
Yeah,
he was a brilliant warrior.
This guy was like a beautiful mind, like killing other people. Yeah, he was a good fighter. Eventually, he winds up getting a massive promotion and taking over the command of the Hipparchos, Emperor Gallienus's elite personal cavalry force.
Oh shit! Once these emperors get their own elite force, didn't Hitler have his own elite force?
He sure did.
Brown shirts.
Yeah, it's generally a pretty bad sign for the health of the country you're in if there are separate military units that are loyal to a single individual rather than the state. Recipe for disaster.
Right. Imagine that happening if you live in a country where your leader has his own private, or at least like desires his own private force.
Yeah, that's typically going to be a bad sign.
Yeah. You might want to call a hotline if that happens in your country.
I wish there were one. That isn't the extent of his career, though. Even after this, he's made the military deputy, and he, is in charge of the whole Roman army in a siege against Milan. Due to a usurper holding up there, Aureolus.
Wasn't he named after a nipple?
I think the nipples are named after him. This is way before nipples came out.
Oh, once nipples came out, they named them after him. Wasn't he the one that discovered nipples then?
He was the one who invented nipples.
He's like, check out this shit on this cat I found. These little things are coming off this cat's belly. I'm going to call him Areolas because it's like my name.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll go with that.
Fucking cat. We're talking cat areolas. Tune in this February for Valentine's. We're going to talk about cat areolas.
Cat nips.
Cat areolas is crazier.
Come on, cat nips is a pun.
Yeah, but
it adds a whole another layer of quality.
Gotcha. When you think of a cat, you think of it, it's got nips, right?
Yes.
When you think of areolas, you think of a human, right?
Yes, I don't think cats
cat
have
areolas would be fucking ridiculous, right?
Yeah, they have big old nipples.
Yes, it'd be crazy, right? Come on, work with me.
Yeah, that would be pretty fun.
Fuck cat nips. I get cat nips. Cat nips. I can see the box of them on the shelf. What? Catnip the drug?
Yeah, that's what it's a
nips,
pun of.
Isn't nips Cheez-It nips?
Cheese nips are the Kmart Cheez-Its.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought you were going with cracker. I thought you were going with the popular snack. Okay, welcome back to Dinner in Hell, History's Atrocious Underbelly.
Okay, well, all right, so we're with Claudius leading a siege against Milan, but during this siege, the emperor, Gallienus, dies. Now, we know he's murdered. That's a fact. But the accounts get a little murky, and historians are unclear on which account of his murder you should believe. The part that we know for sure is that somebody who was at least dressed like a cavalryman just straight up stabbed him when he was running over to give orders. They just rode out and cut him down right there outside the camp. Nobody's saying who did it, but in the most, shall we say, conspiratorial claims, Claudius himself is a co-conspirator. Yeah, what is credited as being most of the scheme is that Claudius and some other people forged a document that made it look like the emperor was preparing to betray his top officials and generals. And then they let the the affected individuals find it. So then they find this map and they're like, holy shit, what do we do? And Claudius was like, hey, maybe we should kill him. What do you guys think? You guys in? And they were like, yeah, totally. We got to get rid of this guy before he kills us. And that's how it went down. According to the most conspiratorial account of it. Some people say it was just one angry dude did it for like no reason. It could have been anything. But that's the most conspiratorial account of his assassination.
Is it possible an enemy soldier was wearing the cavalry uniform and snuck in under the disguise?
Yeah, anything is possible. But it seems most likely that it was the result of some sort of conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emperors get assassinated all the time.
Inside job.
A job hazard.
Yeah. Nero was not assassinated, was he? He did his own self.
Yeah, before he could be executed.
Yeah.
They don't generally let you out of this job alive if you do bad at it. Or even if you do a good job, somebody still, your own kids will kill you and shit to take the throne.
So take us to 268. Claudius takes the throne.
Mm-hmm. Now we'll talk the Rome he's taking the throne of, the CE Rome, the Common Era Roman Empire. It's not great. It's not the glorious empire you see on the depictions of it when it's at its height. It's kind of shitty. The empire has lost a ton of its influence in Europe and North Africa. There's rebel kingdoms popping up on the east and west all the time.
Caligula's sex paradise is the weeds are all grown over.
Yeah.
It's it hasn't even been open in a while. It's like old Boblo Island.
Yeah.
It's like an old amusement park.
Uh-huh. It's not as decrepit as when it gets sacked about 150 years after Claudius takes the throne. In 410, you can hear more about that in our episode 28.
Holy shit. If you like our discussions on Rome, check out Rome 410, The Terminal Descent.
Yeah, this is a pretty good one.
Right. If you want to check out Nero, he's episode 27. We did an episode on Emperor Caligula on episode number 38. Check our whole catalog out.
Yeah.
And pass us on to your friends and coworkers.
Please do. Yeah, but he's got a lot of problems. This is not Rome at its height. The usurpers in the east and west, invading barbarian tribes. There's unrest in the capital. I mean, as an experienced soldier, a lot of these problems he can start to handle right away, because we are still talking about a vastly superior Roman army. I mean, one-on-one with most of these opponents, the Romans are definitely favored for victory. So, the usurpers and the barbarians, he's very capable of handling. He's not so good at handling the unrest in the city.
Yeah. I just want to clarify something, if we could, for a second.
Mm-hmm.
The usurper.
Yeah.
Can we just clarify what exactly that is?
All right. Well, a usurper. Well, okay. Let's start with if there's a throne.
Yeah.
Somebody has it, and that person always has an heir.
Yeah, like a son.
Yeah, usually it would be the eldest son, but if you don't have any sons, it's like your brother, or you could name whoever you want.
Yeah.
Well, a usurper is someone who takes a throne illegitimately. They're not the heir. Or they just claim part of another empire as a new empire that they're in charge of. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what was happening here, is they'd be like, I'm now the Roman Empire emperor, but he's not even in Rome. He's in Milan. He's just saying he is, because might makes right. If he can win, then he is. You know what I'm saying? It's It's basically just throwing your hat in the ring, saying I'm playing the Game of Thrones.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, we can't get through an episode without at least one or two references.
I already said last.
That's what I'm saying. Now, because of this unrest, a lot of Romans didn't want to join the army because these were not popular wars. People were not thrilled about them going on. Now, his theory for why this was the case is that Roman citizens were too attached to their, wives and girlfriends and stuff. They didn't want to leave them, which is probably true.
Like they would rather just like get married and like raise goats and like chill at home.
Yes, like everyone would.
Claudius is like, I don't like that talk.
Yeah, now the perfectly logical solution to this solves the problem. No side effects, I'm sure.
Killed all the women.
Oh, that would have worked. But what he went with was the much more reasonable just banning of all weddings. No marriages, no engagements in Rome allowed anymore.
Good. Nice. That'll keep the people happy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally calm, measured, reasonable, popular, I'm sure, response to the problem. Right? I mean, that wouldn't upset me in any way.
What an asshole.
It's also
that's the episode. Yeah. That's it. That's the worst of Claudius. He banned marriage. Happy Valentine's. Just kidding.
Oh, that is probably one of the dumbest thing he did. Like the most fucked up thing about him. Exactly.
How did he end up dying? What was the end of Claudius?
Oh, and keep in mind, the emperor. He was only the emperor for 2 years. So when in the year of 270, 2 years after taking the throne, he was preparing the Roman army for a war against the Vandals, and he falls ill with the plague of Cyprian, which is likely smallpox, and he dies. 270, a short reign.
Crazy, because rumor has it in scripture that he received a gift of blankets from the Vandals, and he was like, "Oh, these are nice. Is this alpaca? Nice." And homeboy got freaking smallpox laying in his chambers.
Yeah, sounds like the next thing that we need to talk about.
Yeah,
the next puzzle piece in our history of Valentine's Day is the Roman festival of Lupercalia.
Everybody knows about Lupercalia, but there's a few details that you probably didn't know about. That's what we're here for.
Now, this is a feast by which our modern celebration of Valentine's Day, of which I'm to understand from my research, the American version of has unfortunately spread around the globe.
Freaking Hallmark.
Yeah, not everywhere, but a lot. It's enough for me to comfortably talk about this in general terms, and everybody who hears this, you probably are going to have the same sort of cultural framework for this as we do.
I heard that the actual person that started and the family that owns Hallmark are descendants of Saint Valentine.
Is that actual? No.
I can't be sure because I just heard about it. I was in the bathroom. I heard it in the next stall. In a
at the studio?
In a restaurant.
Oh.
Heard a guy talking history.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
I learn a lot of our stuff for our show in public.
I mean, almost every topic comes from there. Well, the Lupercalia feast isn't even the oldest part of the lineage of Valentine's Day. You can really trace the foundation back to a celebration, a ritual called Februa, which was even pre-Roman. We're talking the indigenous peoples of the Italian peninsula. So long roots on this holiday.
Man. Like when I think of, you think of indigenous people, you think of like Aborigines of Australia, Native Americans of America, like indigenous Italians. They're probably like wearing like workout pants.
Mm-hmm.
Tank top. They're known to wear they were the first tribe to wear tank top type. Like wife beater.
Well, really, I just mean the first people who were settled or like that settled had created like civilization at all in the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the Aborigines are indigenous to Australia,
right?
Not the white people who live there.
Right. We talked about that last freaking. We did talk about that in the last episode. I think. The King Leopold one. That came up. How they the Brits sent their prisoners to Australia.
Yeah.
It's like all the white people there, bloodline are from prisoners.
Yeah. I mean, unless your family moved there later on.
Our diehard listeners out there are like, please, we just covered this. Move on.
Well, all right. Let's get into Lupercalia. It was a pretty important ritual for the Romans. There was even an entire order of priests dedicated entirely to this festival. They were the Luperci. They oversaw the festival and all of its corresponding rituals. The first step to the actual ritual involved sacrifice. The first sacrifice would be presented by Vestal virgins, virgin priestesses dedicated to Vestas. They had meal cakes that they would prepare and bless. I don't know what kind of gross-ass food they were eating like 1900 years ago, but I don't fucking want to know what a meal cake is. That's an invitation for you to do your own research.
Oh, don't you just want to get in a time machine, fly back, and try that meal cake?
Yeah, anything described as a meal cake must be delicious.
I mean, because everyone knows how awesome fruit cake is, so meal cake just can only be so amazing.
Yeah, it's got to be incredible. Now, the other sacrifices. First, we would have a goat, which would be killed and sacrificed. Then a dog, which makes me sad.
It makes me sad too, but goddamn, I'm worried about this goddamn meal cake. We're gonna have meal cakes.
It's probably just like a child.
Ugh. Meal cake. Think it was made from like starch, like a corn, or like a corn was American, right?
Yeah, they didn't have corn. Maybe some kind of. I mean, they didn't have rice either. Wheat, probably.
Where did flour come from for them to make pasta? Was pasta introduced to Italy?
I don't know.
Come on, man. Do the goddamn
wheat.
research.
It's probably wheat. Well, it ain't rice and it ain't corn, so it's probably wheat.
I'm counting on you.
I'm going to call it, it's wheat. Dinner and hell assumptions, presumptions. Settled, assuming. We've done it. It's over. It was wheat. Now, the next part of the ritual involved two Luperci priests approaching the altar. Their foreheads would then be anointed with the blood from the sacrificial knife. That is a metal album title. Blood from the sacrificial knife.
There's like Vestal virgins still?
Oh, yeah.
With a palm print on their forehead of blood.
Like white robes and shit.
They're probably like, they probably had like a pillow of flour and it was like, poof, like their whole face was just a pasty white flour, like perfect, like a floured powdered sugar donut, like covered in flour. And then this one bright red palm print of crimson dripping down their nose.
Yeah, right on there.
Freaking, that's the cover.
Yeah, and the next step, less grim, more weird, is that the blood would then be wiped off with some wool that had been soaked in milk, which was probably real gross because it's hot as hell in Rome. Anything that's been sitting in milk in a place where they do not possess refrigeration is likely not something I'd like to be near.
They just had milk like crazy back then. They're like, man, we got so much milk because there was way more cows than people. Cut. For some unknown to me ritual purpose, after the milk wool bath, they were expected to laugh wildly. But that's all part of the show, I guess. After this, they would feast on the meal cakes, the goat, and the dog. Pass that dog.
Yep, and what do you do during a Roman feast? You get ripped drunk, which they, of course, would all do. Roaring drunk. We're talking important people, too, like magistrates and shit.
You have to sit and eat cooked dog. You have the choice of which cut to take. What does the dinner in hell always say to take?
Cheek?
The cheeks.
The most tender.
If you're a fan of Silence of the Lambs, you know Hannibal always says. And Andrew Zimmern from Bizarre Foods, who was a listener.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, someone told me that.
In a bathroom stall?
Yeah, someone wrote it on a wall. But go for the cheeks, people. Dog cheek. It's good. Pit bull cheek, especially. A lot of people have pit bulls. When your dog passes away, which is sad, at least eat his cheeks, is what I'm saying.
Oh, God, no.
I'm
That
just
is a
kidding.
beloved family member.
Just kidding. Hey, he lived his life. He gets to return to. Just kidding.
And I, as Bradley Impaler, will take the stance that pit bulls are awesome and wonderful dogs.
Yeah.
And they deserve love.
As a young man living at my mom's, we had a pit bull.
Great dogs.
It was funny.
Well, sometimes when people get very, very drunk, the next step is they would remove all of their clothing. So we got a whole bunch of naked dudes.
Drunk.
Rip drunk. Having just feasted on goat and dog and whatever the fuck meal cake is.
Belly full of dog.
Dog and meal cake swarming around.
Oh, yeah, that's meal cake. Pass it.
It's going to be hard for me to get through the rest of the show. I'm so hungry now.
Right. Now I'm craving
Just
like
the thought of this
dog
meal.
ribs.
Yeah.
Dog ribs aren't bad. Do them just if you know how to do them right. They're good.
Yeah, I mean, my experience is with all of the animals' ribs that I've eaten so far has been positive. So I don't see why that trend would change.
Yeah. Like if you have to go canine, like fox, wolf, just try common dog. Collie.
No, poor collie. I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. I can't.
I'm just here to push
dogs
you.
are perfect.
I'm just here to push. I just want to trying to push you just a little bit. Poke you. A little hot poker.
So another part of this is they would take the skins of the freshly sacrificed animals, the goat and any other type of animal which may have been sacrificed. They would make whips or... whips, I guess, is the only really way to describe this. Out of the skin of the animals. They'd stretch it thin to make cords. What they would do next is they would run through the city in a circle and whip women. Now, from the way this is written about, it seems like this is done in a more playful than truly violent way. Because the whole festival was about, like fertility, right? That's the real true origin of almost all holidays. Fertility, the most essential, visceral human need.
They were like, oh, you're just going to whip us with like little straps? Like this is, I thought you were going to take my unborn fetus to the tyrant to freaking.
No, Lupercalia just sounds like a drunken good time to me. I like everybody involved. I'm sure they're whipping some people who don't want it, but it's not like people don't know it's Lupercalia, right?
Right.
I mean, they only do it one time. It's not like they're out for like days or weeks on end or something. It's like just don't go out during rush hour. It'd be that easy to avoid.
Right.
Yeah. So, and even a lot of women would participate in the ritual. They would present themselves to be whipped in order to increase their own fertility. Yeah, this is not a fucked up thing. Lupercalia is cool. Yeah. It sounds great. You know what I mean? Sounds like a great time. People, nice, get loose, blow off some steam. Yeah, I got no problem with this.
So many people love involving whips and having a good time, Brad.
Yeah, why not?
Right.
And then after the whipping, the Luperci would go back to the altar, which was in a cave, which is pretty badass. That's even cooler, right?
Oh, cave whip parties?
Yeah, I guess
By
then
the
they'd
fire?
have just sort of like a chill after party at the cave.
Yeah. Wine.
Yeah, that's more or less Lupercalia. So that's one puzzle piece to the beginnings of Valentine's
It's
Day.
like a horny freaking romp of whipping.
Yeah, basically.
Bare butts? Are you imagining bare exposed butts?
No, actually,
in their clothes?
The only in their clothes,
Like,
and the source that I found said women would present their hands to be hit with
really?
the cords. Yes.
Oh, I thought it was like whip me. I've been bad.
No,
that
the
type of
dudes
approach.
and the dudes that are running through the city are the only ones that are naked. Everyone else has clothes on.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's wacky. It's almost like streaking. It reminds me of streaking. That's what this reminds me of.
Now let's make sure we do it on the warmest night. We do not want to do it at a cold night.
No, you don't want any shrinkage when you're participating in a fertility ritual.
Do that we're not going to make that mistake again.
And don't go swimming right before either.
We're not doing it at the beach like what's his name said last time either.
Yeah, dumb move.
We learn from our mistakes. Let's have a good lubricalia tonight. Let's go, boys. Have a good time. Let's go. Everybody out. Bust out the doors with whips, running around their stuff flopping around. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Women are like, oh shit, it's on.
It's Lupercalia. Hooray.
They're like, hell yeah. Some women are like, locking their doors. Clink. Like, I do not want to be part of that shit.
Yeah, it's a wild party, I guess. Everybody seemed into it from what I could read. That's the gist of that. We need to dip back into Claudius just a little bit. We need to go back to his reign to talk about where Valentine's name comes from. Now, it was short. The reign was short, but he had a lot of staying power in terms of how he affected the world, because he is the emperor who is ultimately responsible for martyring Saint Valentine. That's the only reason you've ever heard of him. At some point during his no marriage thing, remember we talked about that?
Yeah.
Valentine got on the bad side of the emperor's government and got his ass handled. He continued to perform marriage ceremonies, Christian marriage ceremonies, which was not, strictly speaking, allowed.
Yeah. Christians were weird to them.
Yeah, it was like double breaking the rules.
Like, what is this weird new Christian shit?
Yeah, I don't like it. I like the Apollo and shit. That's where I'm at.
Keep it Apollo. That's what we say around here.
Yeah, so he's going against the emperor, and he's going against the emperor in a way he especially wouldn't like. Also, fucking Valentine would not cut the shit out. He was attempting to convert everybody all the time to Christianity. He was actually the bishop of that whole area. So he's, putting in work, trying to evangelize and get new converts, which creates unrest. When a bunch of people in an area start changing religions, a lot of times people don't get along so good anymore. Or they want big drastic changes to the way shit's done, and that doesn't go over well with the people who are in charge either. So he was already fucking on house arrest. Yeah, he was already
tether?
on it.
Yeah, ankle tether?
Yeah, that fucking rock one.
You gotta stay at your crib, bro.
Yeah, they didn't, because he left all the fucking time. He divided the shit out of his house arrest orders, and he was still out preaching and
He
stuff.
had to notify his officer. He had to notify him, like, yeah, I'm going out to Naples.
Yeah. Like, don't leave the country.
You gotta piss in this jug first there, Claudius.
Yeah, how's he going to test it? Just, taste it real quick. A little sip. See if he tastes any...
You inject it into a rabbit. If it dies, that means it's positive.
I'm going to go out a limb and just guess that if you inject any piss into any rabbit, it'll probably not have a good time.
Did you ever hear that story?
No.
Back in the day, they would inject a woman's urine into a rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
And if the rabbit died, it meant the woman was pregnant. That's like a real thing.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the Aerosmith song where it's like, dun, 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 but the rabbit done died.
Yeah.
The rabbit done died.
Oh, that's his poetic.
He's getting deep.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Tyler is just...
Nice work.
Yeah. Very...
They're one of my most despised bands.
Okay.
I don't know why, but Aerosmith just fucking grates on my ears.
We've got to get the Dinner in Hell does the tribute to Aerosmith, because we could probably do a real full run of their songs. There's so many. Yeah. But back to serious shit. House
so
arrest.
eventually the chips come due, and they bust Valentine out and about when he's not supposed to be, and they haul his ass before the prefect of Rome, who subsequently sentences him to death. The method of his execution is being beaten by clubs and then subsequently beheaded.
It's like, what did you freaking expect, St. Valentine?
Yeah, he was just testing them at every corner.
We're talking brazen bowls existed. We're talking so many things existed. Immurement. Lots of different death execution methods that we've covered on our program.
That's why you got to admire the man's commitment.
Yeah, the guy's like, I know that you guys could possibly draw and quarter me or stretch me on a rack.
Break me on the wheel.
But you gotta hear this Christian word, bro.
Yeah.
Read it.
Uh-huh.
It's all in there, man. It's life in there. That's Koresh's type shit. It's not the Bible. It's everything. Oh, Koresh.
Some wonderful vague nonsense.
When we did our Koresh episode, I watched so much footage, and I realized I've seen more preaching from him than any other priest in my life. Because I've never really been to church.
Mm-hmm.
I know you had a different upraising.
Oh yeah, I did.
But
well, see, I went to Catholic school, so I got it twice a week. I'd go with my folks on Sunday, and then we'd all go as a school on Tuesdays.
Did you have something called catechism too?
No, catechism was for Catholic kids who didn't go to Catholic school. They'd make you go to double school. Yeah, because if you go to public school, you don't get your religious instruction. They make you come for an hour twice a week, like at night, get taught about Catholicism.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Fun.
Yeah. Now, this execution, the beating and then beheading.
Yeah.
Take a stab. What day do you think it took place on?
Groundhog Day?
No. It was February 14th.
No frickin' way. St. Valentine was killed on February 14th.
Mm-hmm. And that's why that is his official feast day for Catholics.
And that if it wasn't for him getting beaten to death and then beheaded, we would not have this Valentine's show you're listening to right now. Thank you, St. Valentine's.
Yeah, some people may not know this, but if you die because you're a Catholic, like if you get executed for not renouncing your Catholic faith, you immediately become a saint.
Right.
Yeah, so like usually like they're trying to make Mother Teresa, maybe they already made Mother Teresa a saint. I can't remember. But there's like a bunch of rules. Like you can only get canonized a saint if there's like 3 miracles. Like Catholic Church will send like a team of priests to investigate shit to see if it was a miracle or not.
Yeah.
Like that's why you'll see if some statue starts like bleeding out of its eyes or something, you'll see a bunch of pictures of like 20 priests like staring at it really hard. Yeah, so like if you want to, but if you're martyred, if you're a Catholic martyr, boom, rocket ship straight to heaven, sainthood. You're in.
One time on our show, you told me that there was a piece of a saint in every like altar of every Catholic church.
Yes, every Catholic altar must have a relic. It's a rule.
So I wonder if there's a piece of Valentine in some random church.
There may very well be. Or there may claim to... There's definitely like some bones or some old skin or something in there that somebody says is St. Valentine.
Kidney.
Yeah, I don't know if you could check for sure. I think they're usually like it's usually like a finger bone or some shit like that.
Valentine, it's his heart.
It's
his heart.
His heart actually was, another fun fact, it was shaped like the ones you see on Valentine's Day cards. He wouldn't have had long if they didn't execute him anyway, because he was so bizarrely deformed.
What? Are you fucking with me?
Think, you know what a heart looks like a fucking Lucky Charms heart?
Yes.
Yeah,
like
I'm saying his
yeah.
heart and his body actually look like that. That's why we use that in symbols today.
Oh, because of his deformity?
Yeah.
His spine? I gotcha. Or, yeah, the hunchback of Valentine that they sainted.
Oh, yeah. Totally common knowledge. That's where it comes from. You get the spirit from the fertility, sort of transitioned into romance. We get the name and the date from home dude who was marrying people when he wasn't allowed to. So fighting for love.
Just a hell of a saint too. One of the top saints.
I'd say so. Saint, officially known as Saint Valentine of Rome. Yeah, pretty dope saint. And he's no Saint Francis of Assisi, or like Saint Thomas Aquinas, but he's a pretty good one, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so we've wrapped up our Rome-based portion of the program.
Yeah, now you know where Valentine's Day comes from. But there's a whole bunch of other terrible shit that's happened on Valentine's Day throughout history, a lot modern.
Not many of you know. Some of you know that we record our show in North America, in Michigan.
Yeah, somewhere undisclosed location within Michigan.
And this next subject happened not far from where we live.
Mm-hmm. On Valentine's Day, 2007, Stephen Grant of Macomb County reported his wife, Tara Lynn Grant, missing.
My wife's missing, you guys.
Yeah, now once he finally did it, he also admitted that she had in fact been missing for 5 days already.
Didn't he say she was left in a dark car?
Yeah, like she heard some. He claimed that he overheard her on the phone say meet me at the end of the driveway.
Good one.
And this dude too, he's one of those guys who's on TV all the time crying, accusing the sheriff's department of harassing him, talking about I will take a polygraph as long as it's not administered by the police, all kinds of crazy shit.
I want to be administered by someone who's never done it before. That's the only way.
Yeah. The reason that all this shit is crazy shit is because he had in fact murdered his wife during an argument. Took her to a tool and die shop where he then dismembered her body. And then he disposed of her remains in a place called Stony Creek Metro Park. If you're ever in Michigan, check out the Metro Parks. They're incredible.
Beautiful. You can even see so much flora and fauna.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back. He killed her in an argument. He took her to a tool and die shop and dismembered her body.
Yeah.
Room temperature body?
Yep.
That's a mess.
Oh, yeah. He had access to it. It was owned by some family member of his, so he could get in there at night all by himself.
How do you clean that up? The hose? I mean, what did he use?
God, I don't know, man. If you drained the blood first, it probably wouldn't be that bad.
So here's the thing. In case you guys aren't aware of this, if you're a serial killer out there and you're thinking, how do I get this accomplished? You freeze the body. You cut it frozen. There is no blood because the blood is frozen. Ever seen Hannibal, the television program?
Or Dexter.
That might have been it too.
Yeah, the ice truck killer.
Yeah. That way the blood doesn't get everywhere.
Yeah, and now because we've helped you, it means you're never allowed to kill us. That's a rule, in case you didn't know. So after he dumped her body like the scumbag piece of shit he is in the park, he heard that there was a potential search. So he went back and recovered as much of her body as he could.
As much as he could? Not all of it?
Not all of it. When the sheriff executed a search warrant on the property, they found Tara Lynn Grant's torso in a black garbage bag in the home's garage.
What the... What?
I don't know why anyone would ever do anything at all resembling this. God. It's a fucking sick bafflement to me.
How could you do that to a human body?
And someone that you love.
And had children with.
Yes, two
kids.
Freaking
nuts.
Now, before the search warrant was executed, Stephen had fled. He was eventually tracked down through a phone call that he had placed to his sister in northern Michigan. We're talking Emmett County.
Oh, yeah, upper Emmett?
Yeah, middle of nowhere.
Getting pasties up there, eating pasties?
Yeah. Eventually,
Is that
when
Pasties?
That might be more confined
Pasties?
to the Upper Peninsula. This wasn't in the
Okay.
UP, was it? I don't think
know.
so. Well, northern Michigan is like wilderness,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah,
outside of a few enclaves, in case you're not familiar with the area. But eventually they track him down, they, meaning the police and the Coast Guard helicopter who was attempting to capture/rescue him, because when they did track him down, it was March 4th. So Michigan climate, maybe, I don't know, is that technically spring yet? But March 4th in northern Michigan ain't going to feel like spring.
Before global warming, like 10 years ago and beyond, was always cold on March 4th.
We've
been lucky.
I wouldn't be surprised by snow on March 4th.
Right. Oh, for sure. We've had snow like in May sometimes, like in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy in Michigan.
Yeah, and then it'll be fucking 95 degrees with 85% humidity the day
insane.
after that.
Yeah. Michigan weather's insane.
Well, they tracked this motherfucker down wearing nothing but a shirt, pants, and socks.
No
I don't know how the
shoes.
fuck you lose your shoes when you're already on the run, but this dude managed it.
You managed to kill your wife, chop her up, and you can't like just rob a guy for his shoes?
You can't remember to put a fucking pair of shoes on?
Get
I don't
some
know.
shoes, idiot. So
Yeah, so he's got a little bit of hypothermia, a little bit of frostbite.
I'm not cold. Don't worry, I'm not cold. It's not that cold.
Yeah,
Dude, March in Michigan at night, overnight,
yeah,
no
they had to.
shoes.
He had to spend some time in a hospital.
his toes are black. You can't even feel them anymore. They have to chop them off.
He did eventually confess to the crime, though. There is some more unfortunate aftermath to this story, though. A year later, a little bit down the line, Stephen Grant's father had requested visitation. He wanted to see the grandchildren. And when, I think, understandably, the Tara Lynn Grant's parents, who had custody of the children, just decided it would be best if the kids didn't have any contact with that side of the family, with the dad who murdered their mom, which I get.
Yeah.
It's not unreasonable.
Yeah.
But rippling out, it just shows how tragic this shit can be. Stephen Grant's father, after making that request and being denied, killed himself with a gun. Shot himself in the head.
Mm.
So be good to one another out there. Don't do shit like this.
Yeah.
Up next, we're going to be talking about...
Oh, my God.
you thought the last one blew you away?
This is like...
We're going to talk about Bernard Conway on this program.
This is dinner in hell. This is what when we say atrocious underbelly of history, we're talking this type of shit, what you're about to hear.
Bernard Conway, the day before Valentine's Day, 2015.
Oh.
The extremely drunk 55-year-old Dublin man was apprehended trying for a 5-finger discount from Aldi's.
Aldi's?
Yep.
Right by the registers?
Mm-hmm. On a bunch of roses, a cashmere scarf for his girlfriend, and a backpack for himself. How terrible.
This is... Whoa, wait a second. You're talking about shoplifter?
Yeah.
Back all the way back to 2015?
Yeah, this one made the program.
This might be one of our most recent atrocious topics. Wow, thanks, history. Thanks 2 years ago, history.
I mean, though the goods were valued at nearly 50 pounds sterling, the judge saw fit to give him a suspended sentence and send him on his merry way.
I hope you learned your lesson.
Total miscarriage of justice.
May it be a lesson to you. Don't you do a good Irish accent, do you, BT?
Oh, I don't know.
I know you got it in you. You can do Scottish if you want. No one know the difference.
I'm even less confident in.
Whatever. I put you on the spot. I understand. You gotta get in the mindset.
I just wanted to get me girl some flowers and a nice cashmere scarf
Here
for
we go.
Valentine's Day.
I did it. Here we go.
I'll admit it. I took the backpack for myself. I needed a backpack. And I was quite drunk, you do understand.
And what was it about the scarf that made you steal it?
Oh, it was cashmere.
Are you sure? Because I know they had a special on rayon scarves. Rayon. Anyways, let's get atrocious.
All right, so let's go from one. Oh no, Dublin's never mind.
Dublin, bitch.
Let's take a trip across the pond to Vancouver, eh?
That's right.
Perfect Canadian accent.
That's how they're talking in Manitoba.
Okay, so the RCMP, they got an interesting case to deal with. A 59-year-old Nanaimo man shot his estranged wife's son with a crossbow.
What are we doing voice work for a cartoon? Like a twisted cartoon on fucking Adult Swim? Oh boy, you just imagine this guy's got a crossbow?
Yeah, he's got a crossbow. He shoots his estranged wife's son who's getting off of work on Valentine's Day. Shoots him with a crossbow, connects upper arm and pierces his torso.
Kills him?
No, he survives.
Wounds him.
Yeah, the victim of this attack does survive. The attacker, however, and this is a real deep cut suicide method. I'm sure this isn't 100% unique, but this is definitely not one of the hits. Turns the crossbow on himself.
Oh, self-inflicted crossbow?
Yeah, death by self-inflicted crossbow wound. I don't know. What do you put it? Do you shoot it through your mouth like with a gun?
Self-inflicted crossbow. You would probably do it up under
the palate,
jaw, up into your head.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had
you
to,
work the arrow into your mouth to do it.
Yeah, or into your eye socket, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but I've definitely never heard this one before. We can also bring up the case of Captain James Cook. Now, he's widely renowned. People think he's kind of cool. He was a good-ass explorer, I guess.
Is that the Cook Islands named after?
Probably, yeah. I don't know for sure, but I would assume.
Is that who Dane Cook's named after?
Maybe he's descended from him.
Okay.
Well, he was able to circumnavigate the globe twice, which was impressive, and he was the first European on Hawaii, I guess, probably ultimately, unfortunately, for the Hawaiians. But more immediately, unfortunately for Captain James Cook, eventually, at one point, he's docked at Hawaii, restocking his supplies, repairing his ships.
Emptying the shit tank.
Yes, yeah. Well, I don't know. They probably don't hold on to it that long.
Like it's a Winnebago.
Fucking RV. We got the giant blue tube out.
RV.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's
the
there.
Cousin Eddie of freaking captains.
The Cousin Eddie of fucking explorers. Like Vasco da Gama's like, look at this asshole.
This ship is just beat up. Smoke billows from it.
Well, so he's there restocking and resupplying and shit. A group of Hawaiians steal a cutter off the side of his ship, like a little boat. They like climb up and cut the ropes and steal it for themselves. And he doesn't want to fucking abide that kind of shit. So he storms onto the land and he tries to take the King Kalaniʻōpuʻu, hostage. But the Hawaiian people swarm to their king's aid. And when one of James Cook's ships discharged their cannons on a different group of Hawaiians, Cook panicked and discharged his rifle before he could flee to a waiting boat.
Uh-oh.
This is
back then they weren't automatic weapons back then. It was like shoot, then like
that's it.
Yeah,
you're done.
Shoot and run.
Yeah, well, you ain't got time to reload.
Hopefully you had a sidearm pistol on your waist.
That gives you like two shots.
Second, yeah.
That's 1 second shot.
Yeah, and then you got a knife. Then you got your teeth.
More or less. Now, as you can imagine, this means, he's done. He was mercilessly beaten with stones and clubs, face down, lying in the surf. In fact, one of the things that brings him down initially is being stabbed in the back with a knife that he gave to the person who stabbed him as a present.
Oh, yeah, you want this knife back, bitch?
That's unfortunate.
Well,
it's ironic.
You ever seen The Warriors?
Yes.
You warriors are good, real good. And then they beat the shit out of the rogues on Coney Island Beach.
Yeah.
That's this. No, it was them.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was the Warriors.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
Can you dig it?
That was another beating. I was thinking was when the leader of the Warriors, the black guy, Cleon or something. The one guy's beat his ass and they were like elbowing him and shit. Remember he got beat at the park?
Yeah.
Remember? And then they got separated. That guy, that's how this guy got it.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah. Made me think of the Warriors.
He did get a funeral fit for a king, though. His entire body was burned before cleaning the bones, except his hands, which were preserved in salt.
Why?
We just can't get out of this hand removal cycle we're in.
Jesus. Yeah.
It just keeps popping up.
We've talked about hand removal on Woozation, which happens to be one of my favorite topics. I just can't get enough. I think about Woozation all the time.
Her and the concubones.
But she had someone's hands removed, and then we talked about
Leopold II. And the horrifying atrocities committed on the people of the Congo.
Yeah, there's pictures on Google Images that I found.
Oh, yeah.
Of little black children with like nubs for their right hand. Mm-hmm. So sad. Piece of shit.
Yeah, it's just awful. There's one last thing that we have to talk about on any Valentine's Day episode, and that is what's known as St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
Oh, shit. Yep.
Now, this takes place on Valentine's Day 1929.
Where are you taking us to there, BT?
If you can't tell from the accent, I'm talking about Chicago.
Oh, let's get some sausage.
Yeah, so on Valentine's Day 1929 in Chicago, 7 Irish gangsters loyal to George Bugs Moran were corralled against a wall in a garage on Chicago's north side. Those men were then ruthlessly gunned down by another group who were disguised as police officers. Now, there was never enough official evidence to charge the man with this crime, the man who was ultimately responsible. But the damage to the Moran gang paved the way for the rise of Al Scarface Capone in the bootlegging, gambling, and prostitution rackets.
And if you're ever watching Jeopardy and they somehow hint to Chicago and crime and back in the day, just take a wild guess and throw who is Capone.
Yeah, Capone was the king of Chicago. No doubt about it.
It's either going to be.
It's definitely the answer is probably not going to be Bugs Moran.
If the category is Illinois, it's going to be Barack, Capone, Lincoln. Get focused out there if you're watching Jeopardy. If you're a Dinner in Hell follower, we want you to have success on Jeopardy.
Hell yeah!
Holy cow! What an episode!
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I feel a lot of love in the air.
I remember that murder, that husband-wife murder. I remember that.
Yeah, me too.
And being on the run and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were like, "Well, he could be of these possible regions." Like, but people think he's probably dead because it's so cold.
Yeah, I remember him going on TV. I see it every night on the news. He'd be on there getting interviewed, having like a press conference on his fucking porch or some shit. Oh, this audience.
This band.
I mean, I hope everyone enjoyed sitting at the candlelit tables today with the lights down.
Yeah. We're trying different things. We're trying different experiments with moods and feng shui.
Yeah, we crammed in like 30 extra tables. We jacked our menu prices up. You wouldn't believe it. We're making a killing just because it's a special holiday. I can't believe no other restaurant has ever come up with that idea.
We now have running water in the studio audience seating. So, like flowing water, open flowing water. It's feng shui. I mean, it's feng shui.
Oh, yeah, of course.
This band, this episode.
Let it rip. They're incredible. Now, do you have anything to say to us? Do you have any topics you'd like us to cover? A great place to get at us is on Twitter at Dinner and Hell Pod. We're on Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube. You can hear our shit on SoundCloud, Stitcher. We're fucking everywhere. All these weird podcast services. Google them. We're on that shit.
Oh my God, we make promo ads, and they're hosted on our YouTube profile.
Yeah,
Dinner and Hell YouTube.
They're pretty funny. I'm proud of those.
Yeah, they're fun to do, and we're proud of them.
Thank you, everybody, for listening, and have a marvelous evening.